right, so this is actually my second time recording this. Originally I was outside and I accidentally deleted everything on the card. So now I'm gonna have to re-record it. But we're here in a studio in Northeast Atlanta, working with one of the local artists to film a few of their sets so they can broadcast it live on YouTube or some other format. And luckily we were able to come out, so we're able to use the Sony A7S3, which we're recording on now, as well as the older A7 III as our secondary cam, and catch a few shots. So what we'll do is we might have a montage of some of the footage and also catch some of the behind the scenes to see how we set up. We're actually running 4 cameras and an iPhone. So hopefully we'll get a ton of different angles and produce something that the artist will love. And again, we're out here shooting some behind the scenes. Talk to you later. So what's the final result and final thoughts on the A7S III? I'm actually shooting on it now. One of the last things I wanted to try just to get a feel for it is to shoot ProRes RAW into an Atomos Ninja 5 to just see what that editing experience is like. So I'm actually shooting this in that process. Hopefully it doesn't make it tremendously more difficult to edit. One thing I noticed is that it's automatically shooting in S-Log, and so as much as I would love to avoid dealing with S-Log, I guess I'm gonna have to find a LUT to throw on there to get me to Rec 709, but that's a whole nother nerdy discussion. But all in all, yeah, the camera does what the marketing says it would do. I've done some 4K 120, 4K 60. This is being shot at 24 frames per second. I mean, it's one thing I will say is that I'm trying to use it for a job. While I had it, it made me consider if you really need to use the latest and greatest codec all the time. I actually stayed away from the 600 meg per second codec, as well as the latest and greatest high efficiency one, due to the fact that I was going to be delivering this to editors that wanted to take it as easy on their computers as possible. So I went with the older codec that matched some of the previous cameras in the A7 line, and used that to kind of make it a more efficient process. So that's something that did come up and using this camera in a gig style event or a work event. But I am interested to see how this ProRes will work out, to see if this is easier. Pulling ProRes RAW out of this is going to be an easier process to produce images than shooting in one of the various codecs. Would I get this camera? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm leaning toward no, and here's the reason why. For one, I believe that the A7 IV will be here in 2021. Not sure when I want to release this video. And if that camera can do 10-bit, because I have seen the value in 10-bit color space for video. If that camera can do 10-bit 4K at 60 frames per second, and if it can push out 422 10-bit RAW to Atomos, then I'll be honest with you, that feels like a more comfortable tool. And here's the reason why. I'm not at a point where I need a fully dedicated video camera. I prefer to have hybrid cameras. And yes, you can take great pictures with 12 megapixels, and people have done it with less for years. For some of the stuff I do, I feel like having the higher resolution would help. So I'm hoping that in this next variation of the A7 IV, they'll keep it around 24 frames, 24 megapixels, give the 4K 60 frames out, so I can use the Atomos to give some raw footage. Please make it 10-bit, and I think that's enough for what I would need it for. Make it like a real step up from the current A7 III, and I would pick the A7 IV over this camera. Although it is amazing, and I'll be honest, if I have to go out and shoot a small doc or something like that, I would definitely rent this. And then here's the other piece. I really wanted to get my hands on the I believe it's the FX7, the full frame small cinema camera from Sony. That one has the internal ND filter, as well as a bunch of other features that I wanted to try out. And the overall look of it speaks more to film development and shooting documentaries and professional commercials and things like that. Whereas with the mirrorless cameras, to kind of get a similar recognition visually, you really have to build it out. So I don't know. I mean, and the cost isn't that much difference between the two. I keep hearing that the picture's better on this one, which I need to figure out why, because it's essentially the exact same sensor, but who knows. But overall, I think it's a great camera. I probably will definitely use it again in other projects if I get a project where the budget accounts for it. Yeah, I'm going to pick up this camera because I see the difference and use this as a primary, and the A7 III as a secondary camera. But as far as purchasing, I don't know. I think I'll wait to see what the A7 IV will have, and if it has a portion of it, if they keep it at 8-bit, I don't know, man. That makes it tougher. But if they give it 10-bit or better with some ProRes out, I don't care about 8K. Just make it efficient and high quality, and I would probably lean that direction. So that's it. I'll play with this, and maybe I'll come back and add any other comments if something weird happens. But with the ProRes RAW. But I would like to say that this is an amazing camera. I always teeter back and forth on going back to Canon, but at this point, I'm more interested in getting the lighting correct and telling a good story than worrying about whatever brand. So, yeah, I'll be brand independent. I'm just going to figure out how to be a great creator. So thank you again for watching. If you have any questions, please list them in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, please click on subscribe as well as the notifications. We hope to produce more videos, but I probably said it every video, so we'll see what happens. I'm living life. I don't know, maybe I'll start doing some short vlogs that I can knock out in 2 to 5 minutes. We'll see. But have a wonderful evening, and we're out.